2020 celebrates the 35th anniversary of the Mario series. It's amazing to think that 35 years ago, Nintendo launched the NES and Super Mario Bros., and it arguably saved the tired gaming industry with its fun gameplay and now iconic characters. Over the years, Nintendo and Mario have reinvented the platformer with so many wonderful and captivating experiences. Most recently, we had the spectacular Mario Odyssey, which capped off the Switch launch year in style with a truly wonderful 3D platformer that harks back to the 1996 classic Mario 64, but with so many fantastic mechanics to keep things fresh. As this is the 35th anniversary year, the rumour mill has been going on for most of the year about a supposed 3D Mario All-Stars. But finally, after so many apparent leaks and supposed directs, we finally had an official announcement just 2 weeks before the game launch. Compiling Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Galaxy all on one cartridge is certainly a tantalising prospect. And it's finally here, so let's see if this is a fine way of celebrating Mario's 35th anniversary. The first title in the collection is Nintendo 64's launch title, Super Mario 64, and it's easily one of the most memorable games on the beloved Nintendo 64 console, as it was one of the only 2 launch games at the time. Mario's first trip into 3D was revolutionary and really did show other companies how 3D should be done, and now, after 24 years, it's still incredibly fun. Exploring Peach's castle and the castle as a whole is still very enjoyable, and the game's many levels still provide some very fun and memorable moments. One of the earlier highlights is defeating King Bomob on the mountain. It's iconic and is still a blast. Later levels do provide some very clever level designs and loads of secret areas, as there's multiple stars for each level. Yes, the game is looking a bit dated now, but the boost up to 720p does help. Mario is detailed enough and a lot of the rough edges are smoothed out to make for a much more cleaner image. Whether you're playing in handheld or docked, the resolution is 720p all around, and whilst it's a shame that it's not 1080p docked, it still looks okay. What would have been great if that Nintendo went down the Crash Trilogy remake road and redone the graphics completely. But again, as I still said, it still looks nice. One thing that is a shame though is that the game isn't running in full screen 16:9, as the game aspect ratio is only 4:3. But hey, we may get an option in a future update to make it 16:9. This edition of Mario 64 is actually the Shindo edition, which is essentially the ultimate edition of the game. It's a Japanese re-release of the game that took the American edition and turned it into Japanese. It also fixed a few glitches that stopped the speedrunners completing the game in minutes. The "So long King Bowser" line is also gone now, and Mario instead says bye bye. It's the first time the Shindo edition has been translated to English, which is quite cool to be honest, especially for fans of the game. Next up in the package we have the odd one in the mix, Super Mario Sunshine. Originally released all the way back in 2002 for the GameCube, this actually marks the first time this game has ever been brought to another console, so for that reason alone it's very easy to get excited about this package, as a heck of a lot more gamers haven't actually played this game, as Galaxy and 64 has been released several times before. Sunshine has seen quite a fair bit of work compared to 64. First things first, the game's resolution is 1080p docked and 720p in handheld, and it looks absolutely lovely. I always think a lot of the GameCube games still look great due to the many brilliant art styles used by the developers at the time. The ratio has also been changed to full widescreen 16:9, and it really does wonders for the game. It's a shame that the game is only 30 FPS, it would have been nice if they boosted it up to 60 FPS. But anyway, it's amazing to see one of the GameCube's most iconic games playable for the first time in nearly 20 years. The controls have been changed because of the GameCube's special analog trigger buttons. You could use it to vary the pressure of the water coming out of FLUDD, but as the Switch doesn't have analog triggers, the buttons have been remapped to the R and the ZR buttons, and it actually works fine, and I didn't miss the analog triggers at all. Mario Sunshine has always had a love-hate relationship with many of the Mario fans. Some really enjoy it, while some just couldn't get into it. And that's mainly due to FLUDD, the new contraption that Mario has strapped onto his back for most of the game. See, Mario and Co are actually on holiday this time and they visit the lovely looking island Delfino. But a doppelganger that looks like Mario is causing a nuisance on the island. Thinking it's Mario, the residents essentially put Mario on community service as he's tasked with cleaning the island with this device called FLUDD. It's certainly an odd game compared to all the other Mario 3D games, as for instance this is the first and the only time there's been a full voice acting in the game, and while certainly it isn't that great, though it does add a bit of the charm to the game. But for the gameplay now, and it's actually really fun to play. Most of the platforming challenges revolve around the FLUDD and its water pressure mechanics. This makes for a varied, unique and rather underappreciated game in the Mario franchise, and it'll be interesting to see how a new generation of gamers will take to this adventure. And the final game in the package is Super Mario Galaxy, which launched on the Wii all the way back in 2007, and it was easily the most ambitious title in the series to date, as it set Mario and Co to space. A beautiful game on the Wii, and on the Switch it still looks glorious. The resolution has been boosted to 1080p in docked, while 720p in handheld, while still playing at 60 FPS. The game certainly looks much more cleaner than the Wii version did, and whilst the resolution is the main reason why, it's also due to the amazing and timeless art style. It is arguably the most trickiest of the trio of games to bring over, as it was built around the Wii's motion controls, as it was used to pointing at the screen for shooting star bits, balancing the remote for certain levels, and waving the remote for Mario's spin ability. And thankfully Nintendo has done a great job to redo the controls for Switch. You can play the game either with two Joy-Cons or with the Pro Controller while stock. The Joy-Cons feel very much like the original Wii setup, but you'll have to constantly recenter the reticle due to the lack of a sensor bar, but it isn't much issue. Also, Mario's spin has been reassigned to the Y button, which is handy, but you can still wave the remote if you want. The Manta Ray and Ball Roller missions are still a bit annoying due to the force motion controls, but the levels are short enough not to bother you. When in portable play, however, the motion controls are now done by touching the touchscreen, so you want to pick up some star bits, just touch the screen. Same goes for pull stars. It's okay, though it can be a bit awkward in action-heavy scenes where you have to move your hand off a Joy-Con to touch the screen, so bear that in mind if you're a Switch Lite player. The complete joy of Galaxy is the clever way it tackles the gravity-defying mechanics. Walking underneath planets still feels very special, and the camera is top-notch throughout. The game's many different galaxies are a complete wonder to explore, from the few opening galaxies like Good Egg Galaxy and Honey Hive Galaxy. They are very iconic and still incredibly enjoyable to play through. Later galaxies deliver some really rather creative levels, but I don't want to spoil them for you if it's your first time playing the game. As for value for money, there is a lot of game for your money here, with well over 400 stars and shines for you to nab. Each game will take you about 12 to 15 hours to complete, but to fully complete each game to 100%, you're probably talking well over 60 hours, so there's a heck of a lot to do here. But as remasters and collections are very much in things these days, with many companies doing such compilations, many of them coming up with so many special features and extras, you're probably wanting to know what extras are included in 3D All-Stars. And alas, Nintendo hasn't really bothered here. Granted, we have soundtracks for each of the three games here in their entirety, allowing you to listen to whatever you want to hear, rather similar to the Smash Bros. Ultimate Soundtrack feature. You can listen to the soundtracks in sleep mode whilst in portable play, which is nice. As we know, the soundtracks here are absolutely brilliant and memorable, from 64 to Sunshine to Galaxy. They're all fantastic. For me, Galaxy is still one of the best soundtracks ever created. Hearing Gusty Garden's Galaxy and Good Egg Galaxy belting out my speakers sent me back to 2008 when the 11-year-old me first played this game on Wii. Galaxy's orchestrated soundtrack is very much a masterpiece, but 64's and Sunshine's soundtracks are also fantastic as well. It's just a shame that bar these soundtracks there's nothing else here in terms of special features. No documentary, no artwork, nothing else bar the games and the soundtracks. It's a shame Nintendo didn't even go the extra mile and included some bonus stuff, or even Galaxy 2. Not including that title is a very strange omission. Maybe, though, they have other plans for that title, but we'll have to wait and see. One thing I should tell you about, though it's pretty well known, is that the game is going to be a limited release, both physically and, strangely enough, digitally. The game will be widely available until the 31st of March 2021, and that's it. The game will stop being manufactured, and the rest of the stock on store shelves will no longer be replenished, and interestingly enough, will also be pulled from the eShop. It's certainly an odd decision that will get people rushing to buy it in case of fear of missing out, and it's a bit of a daft move by Nintendo to stop selling a game that will obviously sell big numbers over the Switch's life. But it is well advertised as going to be a limited release, so if you want it, buy it. The same happened 10 years ago with the Wii release of Mario All-Stars, but admittedly that did get a re-release on the Selectors range a few years later. With all that out of the way, it's conclusion time now, and Super Mario 3D All-Stars is a very welcome package that includes 3 brilliant games all on one cartridge. Each and every one of these titles are a complete joy to play. Galaxy and 64 are certainly the highlights here, but even Sunshine delivers a very enjoyable and memorable time. Yes, Nintendo could have done a bit more with this set, as the lack of Mario 64 full screen support, Galaxy's strange omission, and some bonus features lack of is incredibly disappointing. But there's no denying the absolutely astounding quality here. So with that, I'm giving Super Mario 3D All-Stars on the Switch a 9.5 out of 10 with the title of amazing. As always, thank you for watching my review. Like, rate and subscribe, and until next time, happy gaming. Bye!